Here to tell us about college entrance testing is Joanna. She's going to cover what is SAT test, ACT test, and the SAT-2s.
Okay, so I took both SAT and ACT, and I took 3 different SAT-2s. So for SAT, I know they're changing it up a lot, but I think SAT, there are a lot more tricks involved. For ACT, I'll talk more about ACT because I know they're not changing ACT. So ACT, it's a lot of questions in a shorter amount of time. So if you're good at answering questions really quickly and doing it accurately, then you should do ACT. Because ACT questions are usually easier than SAT questions. There are less tricks involved and it doesn't require as much thinking it through, but you have to be very accurate because if you get 1 or 2 wrong, then you can get a whole point deducted, and there's only 36 points. So personally, I liked SAT more because the sections were switched up, so you took math and English and math, reading, and writing in different sections so that I wouldn't be burnt out from taking one the whole way through. But if you like having your mind focused on only one subject, then ACT might be better for you. And ACT also has a science section. The science section is not really science. You don't have to have a lot of science knowledge, but you have to be able to read text really quickly and skim through and just logically understand data. And I didn't like that as much, but if you can understand data really quickly and read really quickly, then ACT might be easier for you.
Okay, when we talk about SAT scores and ACT scores, can you tell us a little bit of the difference of how that looks different? You know, when you send it into the schools, for SAT, they're going to see how many scores, and then is there a way to turn in your highest scores? And then for ACT, what's that score look like, and how do you send that in to schools?
Okay, so SAT is out of 2,400 while ACT is out of 36. So SAT, each section is worth 800.
And the sections are?
Section is math, writing, and reading. So then for SATs, they don't do it for UCs, but for a lot of private colleges, you can super score, which means they take your best math score, they take your best verbal score, reading score, and they take your best writing score. So you can take it 2 or 3 times, and then what is best for each test will be your overall score. And for ACT, it's out of 36, and there are 4 sections: writing, reading, math, and science. And they take, so SAT, it's you add up each section because each section is 800 points. While ACT is, each section is out of 36 points, and then they add it up and average it for 36. So for ACT, if you are very strong in, say, reading and writing and very weak in math, then it will pull your grade down a lot more. So SAT might be better for you because you can add up instead of having your grade pulled down. But if you are good at all the subjects, then ACT would be good for you.
Can you also explain what you meant by tricks in the SAT test?
Wait, I thought we were doing that later.
But what do tricks mean when you were talking about, like, SAT test has more tricks?
Okay, so SAT, they have a lot of similar types of questions. Like in the math, they always have like a percentage question that if you approach it in a certain way, you will always get the correct answer. So as long as you know the trick and you understand what type of question it is, you'll get that answer correct. While ACT, it's really based on just normal rules that you use in algebra and in grammar. So there aren't a lot of shortcuts that you can take with ACT.
Okay, and you want to explain to us what SAT 2 tests are?
Okay, so SAT 2s, if you're good at a certain subject like history or music, language, math, if you want to show how good you are at math, or science, chemistry, physics. So there are a lot of different SAT 2s. And for UCs, they don't require them, but it's recommended that you take them just so you can show off what you're specifically good at, especially if you're applying for a certain major. And for privates, a lot of private schools, they require about 2 SAT 2s, and then they recommend a third one. So I took 3. I took SAT Bio, Chem, and Math because I was a science-oriented person, and that just showed that I had more skills in those areas.